What's up, everybody? Will the Whiskey Bugger here, and I'm a beginner fly tyer trying not to screw things up. So the weather hasn't been cooperating quite as I'd like it to for fishing, so I've been getting into fly tying. So I've only been doing it a few months, so I'm not great at it. But I will say it's kind of alleviated that craving to just get out and fish, because I'm tying different patterns, thinking about the type of fish I can catch when it warms up a little bit, or when the weather cooperates and the river kind of goes down a little bit, so I could get out there and get some of those stocked rainbows that we have around here. But like I said, I've been getting into fly tying, so I thought I'd start putting some videos out here about the flies I've been tying. And this isn't one of the beautiful perfect tutorials that you'll see from people like Fly Fish Food or Orvis or a lot of the other people that are putting good content out there. This is just me trying to do it, seeing where I can get, and talking through the steps, and maybe learn a little bit, and maybe it'll encourage you that your flies aren't going to turn out perfect when you first start out, so maybe you'll want to give it a go and not be too discouraged. So today I'm going to be tying a mini Clouser, a little bit smaller than normal, maybe not too much smaller, but I like to use Clousers when it warms up for bass in the rivers here. And so I got some fresh bucktail from a buddy of mine. Killed a deer, brought me some fresh bucktail. I cured it, and I've been using that to tie some Clousers. So I've got a Komodo standard nymph number 6. This is 1X long, 1X strong. So it's a little bit thicker of a hook and a little bit longer to kind of shape that body. So I've got some ultra thread here from UTC. This is 140 denier in white, since I'm using that white bucktail. And I'm just going to get it started here, do some wraps. I've been, like I said, by no means a professional at this, so I'm going to go ahead and I normally like to kind of cover the shank first, just to give it some body, and also to kind of know where I'm going to put my eyes. Go all the way down just to the barb, really, and then I go all the way back up. And then I've got some bead chain eyes I'm going to be using on this. I have some dumbbell eyes, but they're a little bit heavier. I'm throwing this on a 5-weight in a creek that's not too deep, so I don't necessarily need it to sink too quickly. And I'm not throwing a heavier rod than a 5-weight on this, so I'm going to kind of keep the weight a little bit down. So I'm going to throw this bead chain eye almost like quarter of the way down, almost a third of the way down. And these bead chain eyes, it's just like a little, ball chain necklace you'd see almost. That these are in the small and they're black. I got these at Cumberland Transit in Nashville, Tennessee. And then you just kind of do some figure 8 loops on it, kind of tie them in, and you go behind it to kind of lock them in front of it, a few wraps, a couple more figure 8s, and I go around completely, almost like a parachute post, then back again. And those eyes they're locked in there, they're not going anywhere after doing some wraps. And then it's time for the bucktail. So the one thing I've learned as I've been tying some of these, and I've got my little finished fly jar here, but to make sure I leave enough space from the eye of the hook to the eyes of the fly, so that you can kind of shape that nose a little bit of your minnow, and also leave you enough space to whip finish it at the end so it doesn't come undone. A few of these I've just ran out of space, and that's a beginner's issue. I'm sure it happened quite a lot. But so I'm going to just get a little bit of this fresh bucktail my buddy gave me in the white portion of it. I've been meaning to get some like RIT dye and dye some of these some different colors, but I have not yet. So just kind of pinch down, pull some of the loose strands out so it doesn't get messy. Then I'm going to trim the top to be uniform for my tie-in spot. And then I'm I'm going to measure, let's see, just about two times the length of the hook. So it's like you get one full hook length, and then you want to extend about a full length behind the hook. And then I try to get it hooked on there pretty close to the eyes. And then after a few wraps securing that, pop those back on top. I'll trim them in a minute, but then go behind the eye with a half figure eight. And there's kind of some open wraps to kind of form the body, keep the body down, about to the barb, and then back up. And then I'll pull this and trim it pretty close so that then I can finish off the kind of the nose of that. And I've got plenty of space to the eye of the hook still, so I know I always have more bucktail on the bottom, so then that'll be I'll still need that space up there to tie in. Then you flip it over. I'm gonna use some crystal flash here, and I'll pull out. I like to go kind of heavy on the crystal flash. The fish in my area kind of like to go after sparkly things. So this is like a pink crystal flash. I've probably got 5 strands there. And then I'm just gonna first just loop one time over it, maybe 2 times. And then I'm gonna pull both portions back all the way on either side and down. Well, up rather. And then kind of tie that in there. Nice and tight. I'll do one behind the eyes just to kind of keep it in shape. And then you can kind of pull and adjust to make sure they're below that top fur there. Then I'm just doing white on white. So it's going to be a pretty bright, light colored fly in the water with like the pink sparkle and the white to mimic some sort of minnow. But then I'll just kind of cut off another portion of bucktail, strip out any that aren't there, kind of go from the top too, so you don't have any excess or loose bits. I like to trim it off to make it uniform for my tie-in spot, even though I'll be cutting that off anyways later. And then I kind of separate it midway to plop it down on both sides of the hook, just so it kind of helps hide that hook. And then tie it in right there on the nose. Pull that back up. Go under one time to kind of hold that where I need it while I trim it. And then trim as close to the fly as possible. And I cut off my line. That's a mistake you don't want to make. Off my thread. But I'm just going to kind of salvage it, hopefully, right there. Told you, beginner, not necessarily pretty. I'm going to do like a half hitch here with the excess tail end. And then cover that up, trim that out. So that tag end's gone now. And then I'm just going to kind of shape this nose to kind of look a little bit more pointy and also cover up my mistake there. All right, so I've got kind of a conical shape going. And then since I'm not great at the whip finish, I'd throw normally like a half hitch in just to kind of hold it in place while I try to whip finish so it's not sliding all over and I'm losing my thread. So last thing, whip finish tool. First time doing this with a video going, so we'll see how this turns out. And hook it in right there at the tip. 2, 3, 4. Let's do one more for good measure. 5. Pop that off there. Slide it down. Saw a tip from like fly fish food, I think, if you put the put your whip finish tool through the eye and you kind of pull back in opposite directions, help you cinch it down a little bit. But it seems pretty secure there. Snip it off. And then I've got all this excess flash that I kind of measured to the length of the body and snip. And there we go. There's my finished Clouser. This one's a little bit longer maybe than I was hoping. It's okay. I think it'll still fish, but it maybe get some short strikes. So I'm going to just kind of circle that there so you can see it. But I think it turned out pretty good. I like the way it looks. And I was drinking some single barrel Jack Daniels that I got at the distillery. Single barrel proof. This is 126.7 proof. Great whiskey to keep you warm here in the wintertime while you're dreaming of warmer waters for warm water fish. Thanks for watching Whiskey Bugger. I'm going to be doing more of these videos while I can't fish to make myself dream and be active in my fishing hopes and dreams. So thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of it. Talk to you next time.